The final chapter on JFK, Chapter 19, Segment 2, The String Theory.
Welcome to Segment 2, The String Theory. And I'm sure that many of you probably thought that I would be talking about the string theory in quantum physics, where instead of particles being the building blocks for the universe, the theory is that it's vibrating strings. Fortunately, I'll be talking only about string. And when I say string, I'm talking about string that the FBI used when they were building a model of the plaza area, and they used string to show that Lee Harvey Oswald or somebody shot Kennedy from the 6th floor of the Texas School Book Depository, running string down into the street, supposedly showing the world that Kennedy had been shot from that corner of the 6th floor of the Texas School Book Depository. But whether it was the FBI or whether it was computer experts afterwards doing the same thing but doing it in more modern technical terms, the truth of the matter is all of those efforts are pure sophistry. And I'll tell you why. Bullet trajectory in the Kennedy case involve identifying the wounds in JFK's body and how they struck the body. It involves basic geometry. To determine where a bullet is fired from, the first thing that has to be done is to examine the spot where the bullet struck, back, head, neck, look at it and determine the angle of entry, which is often called the impact angle or angle of incidence. To do that, you need two measurements: the horizontal angle or axis and the vertical angle or elevation angle. For the elevation angle, it can either be positive, a bullet going up, negative, a bullet going down, or neutral, a bullet that is fired parallel with the ground. If the area of impact or impact angle is not determined, the bullet's trajectory cannot be even reasonably determined. Going back to the old days, all the way back to the 1930s, police at the time would use string at the impact site, and they would adjust it to the angle of impact based upon dowel rods placed into the bullet hole, and they would run the string back away from the entry spot to give them a good indication where the bullet was fired from. Today, they can do it with lasers. The problem in John F. Kennedy's case was that the autopsy doctors, Humes, Boswell, and Finch, didn't measure the impact angle of any of the bullets that struck Kennedy's body. For instance, the axis or area around the body, if we want to look at it as a compass with 360 degrees, they made no attempt to determine the horizontal angle that the bullet was fired from. As for the vertical angle, the doctors did not report determining that angle at all. The only people that reported that were two FBI agents, and they put that in a report first issued within hours after the assassination, and that was in a telex, which they sent to the Home Office. And in that telex, they reported that the trajectory of the angle, this is the vertical axis, was between 45 to 60 degrees downward. That's what they reported on November 23rd, right after the autopsy had been completed. Later on, in a more detailed report, I believe it was called a 302, the agents reported that Humes stuck his finger into Kennedy's back bullet wound, and it was determined that it was at a downward position of somewhere between 45 to 60 degrees. Both the telex and the 302 report were buried and were never made part of the Warren Commission report or never even found its way into the 26 non-attached Warren Commission volumes. Without knowing the impact angle of any of the bullets that hit John F. Kennedy, back, throat, head, you cannot determine the bullet trajectory in the Kennedy assassination case. The only thing factually that exists, and it's very nebulous, is that 2 FBI agents supposedly noted that when Dr. Humes was probing Kennedy's back during the autopsy, that the angle of the shot in the Kennedy's back was between 45 to 60 degrees. This wasn't something that Dr. Humes reported, and this was an estimate made by FBI agents watching, and only watching. That's the only positive factual evidence that exists as to the impact angles on any of Kennedy's wounds. So, if anybody tries to tell you in any video, CGI, AI, computer animation, that they can determine where the shots came from, they can't. With that said, see you in the next segment.